Now, I think it's very important that we have creators out there like director Shawn Levy and Ryan Reynolds in this case for Deadpool and Wolverine, along with writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. These are the very types of people that were willing to go ahead and take a stand against Disney and their ongoing DEI agenda amid the reshoots taking place, of course, right now, and everything going on with the drama surrounding Deadpool and Wolverine. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So I think that we could all agree here as well that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is facing a lot of problems right now, especially for 2025 with the expensive failures on the horizon. We all saw what's been going on with Blade 2025 and all of the revisions being applied to that film, as well as, let's not forget about all the drama surrounding Captain America 4. More on that a little bit later in the week, by the way, so stay tuned. But focusing on everything related to Ryan Reynolds taking a massive stand for his production, Deadpool 3, and gaining a lot of victories rather than losses, I think is going to be a very big telltale that this movie could very well be one of the more entertaining Marvel films in recent years, maybe even bigger than No Way Home. We'll have to wait and see. Now, one thing about all of this is that there's a lot of things going on with actor Henry Cavill and his involvement in Deadpool 3 after She-Hulk actress Tatiana Maslany got cut out of this movie and the plans for the reshoots, and how Ryan Reynolds is essentially pushing for Henry Cavill to be inserted to take place and to take over those slots where She-Hulk actress Tatiana Maslany was supposed to be thrown in there. Now, to top things all off, what's interesting about this moving onwards is that with those like Ryan Reynolds and director Shawn Levy gaining many victories over Disney's DEI agenda from entering into the reshoots for Deadpool and Wolverine, one major development now has much to do with actor Henry Cavill and recent drama that emerged behind the scenes revolving around his cameo for the third act of the film. Now, one crucial update to this situation is that Cavill recently gave Disney a serious ultimatum about his role, where he recently pushed those like Bob Iger and Kevin Feige that he will be walking away from the Deadpool project unless his scenes are improvised, as Ryan Reynolds and Shawn Levy are pushing for, with a scene featuring himself as a new variant of Wolverine, as it turns out, from a different universe. Now, it turns out that this drama sparked after Kevin Feige specifically wanted to hire Henry Cavill to give him the John Krasinski treatment as Mr. Fantastic, where his character would perish by the hands of a powerful female figure to enhance the new villain, Cassandra Nova. In this case, Kevin Feige was doubling down on a scene that would take place in a new universe, in which Cassandra Nova, the sister of Professor Xavier, would defeat Cavill's iteration of Wolverine with ease, with a series of cringeworthy dialogue that was forced from Kevin Feige down to the writers like Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese. Now, this is the main thing that Cavill, of course, had heavy arguments with the Disney heads about, including Marvel boss Kevin Feige. It turns out there are heavy negotiations taking place right now, where Reynolds is pushing for Cavill's scene as Wolverine to focus on him as a new variant of the character in a brand new universe, where he is seen as a victorious hero, one that did not let down his entire world. The scene, of course, reportedly being quickly developed by Ryan, Paul, Shawn, and Rhett, and immediately pitched to the Disney heads. Now, Cavill reportedly had many creative arguments with Feige and the Disney heads after they rejected Ryan Reynolds' treatment of the Wolverine variant scene, as Feige wants to place him in as Captain Britain instead for a far shorter and a far cheaper scene. There were also financial arguments that took place between Cavill and the Disney heads for his very big cameo scene, as well revolving around Henry's payout. Now, Henry's defensive attitude, and rightfully so, comes well after the recent issues with Netflix and The Witcher, as well as his role as Superman, and what's also going on now with Warhammer 40k, as he wants to be respected in especially a universe like this from Marvel, by Ryan Reynolds' terms. Now, Henry Cavill also had arguments with Bob Iger about future plans in the MCU beyond Deadpool and Wolverine, and whether or not his cameo in the film would open the gateway to many other opportunities and projects that will shift away from their DEI agenda. There have been conversations between Cavill and Fiege playing as the new Wolverine in the upcoming X-Men film. However, these conversations were complex as Disney wants to double down on that film in particular, focusing mainly on the female-driven characters instead, and Cavill wants no part in an agenda-driven film. As of now, the cameo that will be chosen is set to be decided on by the middle of this month and immediately filmed shortly after, just in time for the reshoots ending by early June, as they aim to wrap post-production within the first couple of weeks in June. Now, let me just pause here, guys, before I move on. Now, the thing about this is that we know that Henry Cavill is one that really cares about the fans. I mean, genuinely speaking, I talked about this a couple of posts back, but Henry Cavill actually really does care about the fans. It's not about him improving his image, making believe he cares about the fans. I mean, he literally actually cares about the fandom, about source material, and loves to connect with those that follow his work. And so you have a very similar scenario happening here, where yet you have another studio like Disney trying to really kind of water down Henry Cavill's role, or whatever kind of significant role he may have in this film. By the way, as we discussed earlier, Ryan Reynolds really wants him as a variant of Wolverine in the third act, specifically shifting away from that battle against Cassandra Nova and instead making it more or less of a simplified scene, basing him within his own universe, setting an example that there are Wolverines out there that are heroes that did not let their world down. So they want to actually give him a nice action-driven scene, fighting against foes, and stuff around those lines. That's what they're aiming for, generally speaking. Now, on top of this, alright, with that being said, Ryan is also pushing Marvel Studios to provide Cavill with an extra scene in which Wolverine will meet Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, where Jackman will flip him the bird with his claw as a joke. Kind of like a little bit of an homage to what we saw in X-Men Origins Wolverine, where he actually says, "That's a very nice stick," and he gives him the bird, right? We all saw that happen with, everything X-Men Origins Wolverine related. Now, obviously, Reynolds wants to have a lot of callbacks to previous movies that featured Wolverine. That's exactly why he was setting for the war scenes to be redone that you saw in the opening credits for X-Men Origins Wolverine to make them more violent. Bob Iger shot them down because they were way too violent in his mind, even for an R-rated movie like Deadpool 3, which is just ludicrous as far as I see things. But Henry Cavill, look, I think that he is going to nail it once he gets that role down on the board as Wolverine and on the paper, and beginning, of course, to shoot that by, the later portion of this month when they actually decide everything is all done and pretty much set for Wolverine. When you look at everything related to it in that sense, I think Cavill deserves it. I think he deserves everything in this world that's going to be agenda-driven free. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. And I will catch you guys later.